Good morning, Dave here with Organic Gardening in North Carolina. I'm doing a live stream because I'm doing my October tour and it's actually November, so I'm a little late again. So we'll see if anybody pops on here, but I will also do it live so I'll get it online quicker, so I won't be too far in November before I do my October tour. I'm wearing my gardening is cheaper than therapy, plus you get tomatoes. Is that what it says? Oh, and you get tomatoes. Wearing my gardening t-shirt here. All right, let me turn the camera around and we'll show you what's going on here. All right, here's the lower end of my garden. I've got some radishes growing here. See those white icicles? I also planted a bunch of onions here. Something's been digging in my garden. And if it's a squirrel or a there's a chipmunk lives around here somewhere, but see, it's digging up the onions I planted. So I'm gonna push that back under. Those are little bulbs I planted. Plant the bulbs and you get like spring onions. All right, I trimmed this fig tree way back because it was taking over the whole area of the garden here. And it does have a bunch of figs on it, but I don't think they're going to have time to mature. I ate one fig off of this. It got sort of yellow and it had a nice flavor to it. It wasn't 100% ripe, but it was still good. So that gives me hope for this tree that it will start producing soon. I got some rosemary that I was working at a restaurant that was closed, and they had rosemary in their garden, a huge bush of it. So I grabbed a little sprig and threw it in the ground. So that should take off next spring. And I'll have some rosemary. This is broccoli that something's been eating it. This is Brussels sprouts. Something's eating that too. And it's been so hot. When I planted them, they were so hot, they really weren't happy for a long time. But they're starting to get happy now. Some comfrey. This is Bocking 14. And I need to chop that and drop it. This is a little lemongrass bush that I threw a little sprig in the ground that I bought at a plant store, and that thing is going crazy. It's like 4 feet tall, overtaking that area. Here's one of my figs. It's got some nice figs on it, but again, I don't think they're gonna have time to mature. This is a fig that I just put the cutting in the pot this spring, so this is the first year for it. I think that's a yellow Lebanese or something like that. Got a few fig trees through here. This one has some nice figs on it too. But again, we did get one frost, but it really didn't do a whole lot. I didn't see anything that got affected by it really, which is sort of amazing because it had a pretty good coat of ice on my windshield. Here's some kale, some more radishes. All right. I don't know if you heard my harmonica ringtone, but I did that myself. If you want to download it, I have a spot online. You can download it if you want it. Okay, there's some radishes that I just planted probably a week ago, and they're starting to come up real nice. This is a ground cherry that I didn't plant this year, but it came up from ones from last year. They get a little shell like this, and then you open it up. Use 2 hands for that. Open it up, and there's a little fruit in there. And when it's ripe, it'll turn like bright yellow or orangish. That one's not ready to be picked yet. I just sacrificed that to show you what it looks like. It's my goji berries. They actually did something this year. They produced some berries. Mm-hmm. Okay. They're supposed to be good for you. Let me hop back in here so I can show you my ginger. Here's my ginger. You can see at the base it's got some rhizomes forming. Hopefully we'll have some more time without frost that can form too. And then here's my turmeric. I believe you say turmeric, but these turmeric bushes are about 4 feet tall too, or turmeric plants. I always said turmeric, but it seems like I hear people saying turmeric. So who knows? Alrighty, moving right along. Some marigolds. Not marigolds, those aren't marigolds, those are zinnias. That's what happens when you open your mouth before you think. Here's some dinosaur kale that I got from the plant store. Also planted some Swiss chard behind there, and some sugar peas even. Got a bunch of stuff mixed in there. There's also some radishes in front here. I've been picking the greens off to feed to the bunnies. Arugula. I planted a whole bunch of arugula in there. Like garlic, but they're onions that I planted the little bulbs. Like I said, it'll get like spring onions. There's a little kale plant, some carrots. There's a pepper plant with some peppers on it, if you can see right there. Here's a peach tree that I trimmed. That's one that just came up from a pit that got thrown there, but it's doing pretty amazing. I may get some scion and graft a scion onto that so that we'll have a known variety of fig. Otherwise, I said fig. I need to have my brain engaged this morning. It's not a fig, it is a peach tree. So here's the strawberries that I just planted last spring, and I got a few strawberries from them this year, but I'm hoping they're gonna overwinter well and we'll get a big crop of strawberries this next spring. Here's some more onions, another spot where I planted a bunch of onions. Here's a cucumber vine that I planted late in the year. Doesn't look like it's going to have enough heat for it to get any cucumbers on it, but it could surprise me. It's got a lot of blooms on it. Alright, let's go around this way. We're still getting a couple raspberries. They are delicious. Yum, yum, yum. My grandson's coming over tonight, so I might let him pick the rest of them. But see, there's a nice cluster over there with a bunch of raspberries. Moving right along. I just for warm climates, so it should do well. Yeah, my brother's in Tennessee, so he's a little cooler, and he sent me some hardnecks, which have been doing okay, but all right. Moving right along. This is horseradish. Those are hot when they get crinkled and rib cages. Took those down and I planted onions, radishes, and Swiss chard, and garlic. So by next month we should be able to see all that poking through. So it seems like I'm a bit. Yeah. Yeah. And pepper's still on. Of figs that I threw some sticks in the ground. and they really have taken off. Some sticks in the ground, and they really have taken off. Still, uh, one more thing here. Still, uh, one more thing here. Well, a couple more things. But here are persimmons from the persimmon tree that I just planted last year. And this is a non-astringent variety. Hello, I am Sylvia W. I'm doing great. Just caught me at the end of the tour here. And so you have to come back and see the downloaded version. But like I said, I just planted this persimmon tree last fall, and it's got a bunch of persimmons on it. They're non-astringent, so they're not gonna give you that pucker up that the wild persimmons do unless they're totally 100% ripe. These are still hard though, so I think they might need some frost to get ripe. Hopefully they'll get ripe and I'll be able to taste them this year. Alright, one more plant and I will be done. Well, I can never do one more, can I? Because when I'm walking, I always see things that I'd like to show you. There, that it's still blooming. And here is an Anaheim lily that I need to harvest some and put them in a bag. I might grind them up so I can make some chili pepper or chili powder. Yeah, persimmons are a little bit here, but persimmons are mostly a wild crop. They're not, I didn't even realize that they were a cultivated tree, but you see them a lot of times in the fall in the just when you're out at the edges of the between pasture and like woodland area. And I have seen them in the stores before. But like I said, the wild ones, unless they're perfectly ripe, they can make your mouth pucker like a lemon. That's called astringent. And these are non-astringent, and they are much bigger than the wild variety too. So we'll see how they taste pretty soon. I'll probably do a special video when they get ripe. See, here's my pecan tree. Hasn't got any pecans yet because you have to have 2 pecan trees. And I really thought in the south here I would have someone close enough that would have a pecan tree that it would be able to pollinate, but it doesn't look like I am close enough. But I did plant some other pecan trees. I think that's a pecan there. That might be a pecan there, right there. So yeah, I think that's about it. Maybe I'll show you one more thing. I always say one more thing. One more thing leads to another. But here is an apple tree that I planted. Hello. I'm having a hard time reading that. Ms. or a doodle. I'm sorry, I butchered that one. Here's my apple tree. This is a Golden Delicious that I just planted last fall. And it grew like crazy. It's probably 7 or 8 feet tall. I'm gonna have to figure out how to prune that, and maybe I'll even get some apples from it next year. All right, well, I gotta get to work, so there's a overview of the garden. Hopefully this didn't buffer too much and I'll be able to keep it from my call. Thanks for stopping by and supporting. I definitely appreciate it. All right, have a blessed day. Thanks for stopping by, and I'll see you later. Bye-bye.